What's up, nerds? This is Ebony Warrior Studios, and this is our first episode of Friends with No Benefits. Uh, so I'm here with Sydney and Desiree. I'm going to let them do their own introductions. But this is just a way for us to get our wiggles out, discuss current events, and hang out with one another. Today's discussion is on Uncle Tom's Cabin and how that correlates to modern day Sambos and what we like to so ever lovingly call coons. But Desiree, hi.
Hi. I was not expecting that word, but yeah.
I mean, we're black, we're allowed to use it.
I know. It just got me by surprise. Um, but
I
yeah, hi
won't.
guys.
I won't use it. I'm white. My screen might be black, but I'm definitely white. I'm
Oh my
Sydney.
God, love that.
I'm just here.
But yeah,
I'm
my
just
name is
here. I love y'all.
right. We love you. But yeah, I'm Desiree here to assist in this conversation of Uncle Tom and hopefully give some insight into the history of the term and how it's being used today versus what it actually was back then. And so I'm looking forward to having this educational discussion.
I mean, educational, but also fun. This. So
Yeah.
these are the friends. Okay, this is going to be our kind of like our normal thing. We don't know if it's going to be a weekly or a bi-weekly thing, but this is going to be our regular thing somewhat. So, Sydney, would you like to introduce yourself?
I'll do my best while I've got the baby in my hands, but yeah, mine's Sydney, and I'm just here for a little bit of levity and to be lectured as reparations, if you will.
All right. So, I think pretty much everybody knows, I mean, has heard of the term Uncle Tom, and it is a pejorative term that today has a negative connotation. I don't think when Harriet Beecher Stowe wrote the book, she necessarily intended for the term Uncle Tom to be derogatory. But if you look into the history of who Harriet Beecher Stowe was, she was coming from this Sydney put it in an excellent way. Harriet Beecher Stowe is was her time's equivalent of a Nancy Pelosi. She was she considered herself liberal, considered herself a friend of enslaved peoples. Like she literally had a paternal aunt who was a slave owner, and all of the information she got about slaves was from her time seeing and I guess talking to enslaved people. Um, but even like her portrayal of enslaved people leads me to think that she just observed them, didn't actually talk to anybody. So she's got this, she's comes from a very prominent family, very wealthy family that considered themselves to be allies of black people. But the way that Uncle Tom is written, it's like, he is,
Mm.
he's like a, what was Sydney? Didn't you say that Harriet wanted him to be like a Christ-like figure in a way? I think that's what she said when she was doing her research. Because Sydney is the
Yeah,
researcher.
so she intended for him to be very Christ-like and all forgiving, basically, which of course just came off as very subservient. It goes into this mythos of that white people have that Jesus was always willing to forgive and he was always a pacifist, completely disregarding the fact that he braided a whip and beat out capitalists out of the church.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
she really intended for like this very self-sacrificing kind of image, and
Mm.
it's failed spectacularly.
Yeah, so that really did carry over to today. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
boy, did it ever. And that's a really nice way of putting it. I never thought of it in that way, Sydney. So, that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I was doing the research on her, and you know, credit where credit's due as a white person for, you know what, using her money and affluence for a good cause, but she definitely comes off as tone deaf.
Right. No,
Yeah.
definitely.
Now, a little bit more backstory on Harriet Beecher Stowe and Uncle Tom. So, like we said, he was supposed to be like a Christ-like figure. His story is one of, he's an enslaved individual, so it's like pain, torment, and sorrow, and every single time he's done dirty, he takes the high road. I'm a love you no matter what, massa. You beat me, I'm gonna come right back and give you a hug. Like that, and so there's a lot of people who today will say, Uncle Tom was actually the good guy, but the way that he's written, it's literally supposed it's it, they about in Bibles that they would give enslaved people. They would literally take out any parts about rebellion, any parts about standing up for yourself or being an independent person, but they wanted you to still be a Christian. And to them, an enslaved person as a Christian was subservient. So Uncle Tom is this subservient and like loving person to a fault. And I guess in Harriet's mind, this is the ideal black person, because there's different like archetypes when it comes to like self-hating Negroes, people who are very have that internalized racism. So you have the Uncle Tom sort of archetype, people who are um, very naive in a way. Okay, and then you also have the second archetype is the one that's angry with who they are, and they're just angry with the world, angry with black people in general. And they an Uncle Tom sort of character is still going to be loving towards other black people, but then the second archetype, they full on hate themselves and who other black people are. They think that all the problems that they deal with in the world have to do with black people. It's not an issue of white supremacy. It's not an issue of racism. It's an issue of black people being unruly. And that's how, like those two different archetypes both think that you need to be subservient and need to be, you know, uh, obedient to palm colored people. But well, when we talk more about modern times, and then we'll talk about how those two things play out and how we see that in today. But yeah, now that's Uncle Tom was good Lord. I don't understand how you could think that was like, you know, the good guy. Like I understand what they were trying to do, but at the same time it's like you think that black people deserve to be subservient for what?
Yeah. Yeah. It's weird. Y- Might as well just use it as if he's, I don't know, in relation to the Bible, with how they use the Bible for us to be as justification, at least for us to be subservient and obedient. The story around Uncle Tom, I feel, is no different in a way. Some people may look to him as the hero, but there's just a lot of nuance, I think. And then also, you have to ask yourself, was it really even, I don't know, right for Harriet Beecher Stowe? Was it right for her to even write it in the first place? Like, I don't know. I feel weird about that.
It's kind of
It,
funny that you
it's
bring that up
sticky.
though, because there is a very sordid history of white women entering the spaces of Black people under pseudonyms because it's easier for them to garner a following. It's easier for them to get their work out there if they pretend to be a Black person. And we've seen that time and time again. Honestly, I didn't realize the conversation was going to go there. Otherwise, I would have looked the list up because I was just thinking about that the other day. There are quite a number of authors that were exposed because their writing was for Black people. And they were exposed as white women, basically catfishing. And I think it also falls in line with that same thing that we see today of white musical artists starting out in rap and hip hop because it's easier for them to start their career. And then as soon as they
Yeah.
gain the following and the money that they wanted, they switch right back over to where they wanted to be, which is like, country music or something like that. Like Post
Right.
Malone and Jelly Roll and all them, Machine Gun Kelly.
So basically, a reverse Taylor Swift.
Yes. Yes. Don't get me started on Taylor Swift. I'm already
Yeah.
on one with Taylor Swift.
She's been a hot topic today, so.
Yeah, because that stupid album. I just don't understand how you're damn near 40 acting like you're in high school.
Right. Just like, girl, please. I
Do
don't know.
something. Do
Write
something
something.
else.
Do
It's that
something else.
meme with the
Yeah,
stick.
right.
Do something.
With the absolutely. It just gets old. But yeah, that's a wonderful example. But I was thinking, yeah, I definitely was thinking about that the other day. Like, do we think enough about why she wrote what she wrote? Was it acceptable? Should it be acceptable? I don't know. But yeah,
I
the whole Uncle Tom as a character and just being loosely based on Josiah Henson as a former slave from Maryland. I just I don't know. One thing I don't know for sure though, he's based off of he is a real actual person, right?
mm,
He is. Okay.
yeah.
That's the part I was kind of struggling with because I've seen several videos of people saying that he wasn't real. Others were saying that he was. I hadn't read
Yeah.
his autobiography, and so okay. I
Yeah.
just
From what
wanted
I
to
was
make
seeing,
sure.
Uncle Tom is based off of a real life person. And
Okay.
that actually brings us to our next point. One of the main issues with Uncle Tom's Cabin, right, was this idea. It was written by a white woman, number one, but this idea that Black people are supposed to be loving and subservient, always take the high road, happy and jovial, no matter what, hell or high water. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Archetype of Black people literally inspired minstrel shows. So Harriet Beecher Stowe's work literally became minstrel shows. They took Uncle Tom and Uncle Tom's Cabin and turned that into minstrel shows. And if you don't know what minstrel shows are, if you're um, a newbie to these type of conversations, minstrel shows were performances where white people would quite literally put black tar or black paint on their face with like white or red lips, and they would do characterized caricatures.
Caricatures.
There we go.
Character.
That's the word. They would do caricatures of Black people. Very disgusting and dehumanizing caricatures of Black people. And there's at least, oh my goodness, at least 100 years of history of minstrel shows. They, after enslavement ended, this was a really big entertainment thing. I mean, even during enslavement, it was a big entertainment thing, but it became even bigger after enslavement because Black people were given their freedom. Now, I say that loosely because there were Black people enslaved up until like the 1960s, 1970s, unknowingly, like literally still enslaved. And but black people were given their freedom. White people didn't like that. They were very angry with it. And this was one of those ways that white people felt like they could get back at black people. And honestly, a lot of white people didn't even think of it as a derogatory thing. And that's how evil enslavement was. They thought that this was, this was normal. This is just a normal everyday entertainment, like going to watch a football game or something like that. But they dehumanized black people for hundreds of years, turned that into entertainment. Um, and during the Reconstruction period, that was also when the KKK was the federal government. They said they were hunting down KKK members during this time after the Civil War ended. Um, and the KKK had to go incognito. We'll put it that way. They didn't, completely stop. They just weren't allowed to be as open with their operations as they used to be. And so during that time period, the KKK kind of went underground. And minstrel shows was one of these ways that they, you know, members of the KKK could get their wiggles out. I mean, there were still numerous lynchings during this time period, and obviously juries were all white, judges were all white. There was never anything done to get justice for these black people. But in the early 1900s, when Woodrow Wilson was in the White House, there was a resurgence of the KKK. And if you don't know anything about the president, Woodrow Wilson, he was unrepentantly racist. So much so that he championed the KKK. There was a film that came out in 1914 called Birth of a Nation. It was a KKK propaganda film. In this film, you had the ultimate minstrel show. There were several black people, several white people playing black people in this film. And the whole idea behind it was that the KKK were the saviors and the heroes of frail and meek and mild white women. Black people were these savage beasts like gorillas, and they ate watermelon and fried chicken. They were either lazy or they were savage and feral. And the KKK had to come in and save white women from these spooky, scary black men. And Woodrow Wilson loved this movie, so much so that he played it at the White House. It was the very first movie ever played at the White House. And this movie was used as a recruitment tool for the resurgence of the KKK. And one other fun fact about that, the Stone Mountain here in Georgia, the Confederate monument, was carved by the same guy that did Mount Rushmore, right? Now, Stone Mountain, there's a place on top of Stone Mountain where, you can hike up there and whatnot, right? That is the very first meeting place of the KKK after they had their very first brand new meeting after 1914, when they had their little resurgence. It was Stone Mountain, on top of that mountain, where I can't remember if the thing was carved yet, but on top of that mountain, that's where the KKK met for the first time after reuniting, or whatever the hell you call it.
Sheesh. That's freaking terrible.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know. You definitely have to check your triggers with this. As I'm sitting here and I'm like, ugh. But yeah, definitely have to check your triggers.
Probably should have put a trigger
it's a
warning.
tough conversation to have. Yeah, definitely. Because I'm like, I don't know. I'm getting emotional.
Just you wait.
Which,
Just
wait,
to
what?
double check, Stone Mountain was finished in 1972.
Okay, cool. So yeah, no.
So they started in 1915, finished in 1972.
Yep, there it was. Okay, so 1914, Birth of a Nation comes out, and he started carving that memorial right after. But they met at Stone Mountain for the very like the resurgence of the KKK was there at Stone Mountain at that place where he did the carving, which is brutal. It's absolutely brutal. I mean, we could go into like the history of the lynchings and everything that were directly correlated to that, but we're not doing that today.
No, I'm not ready. But
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, it's still there as a symbol of, I mean, I don't know. Have you been to Stone Mountain,
No,
or
we
have you
actually
not really been there, but
we went to Ren Fair last year, right? And I won the cosplay contest that they had. They gave us tickets to Stone Mountain. I couldn't even give those away. Like they were. First of all, I'm not going to Stone Mountain. You think I'm gonna go to a KKK memorial? Hell no. And so my first thought was like, do I just like give these to somebody? I'm like, I'm not giving tickets away to a KKK memorial. Hell no. So yeah, no, I've never been to Stone Mountain, and in no way, shape, or form do I have any interest in going there. It's it's like you've heard of what do you call it? Lake Lanier? You've heard of it? How haunted it is?
yes.
There is no way in hell I would go to a place of such evil for shits and giggles. Like going to Lake Lanier. That if you don't know what Lake Lanier is, it's a lake here in Georgia. That used to be a town called Oscarville. It was a black town. They murdered black people, stole their land, and literally flooded it and turned it into a lake. And there have been numerous unexplained deaths at Lake Lanier because apparently swimming in haunted fucking water is a pastime to do. You wouldn't catch me. And the crazy thing about Lake Lanier, I'm not one of those super superstitious people, but whatever's going on with the terrifying haunting shit at Lake Lanier, it does not care if you are black or white. It don't give a shit. And so there have been black and white people that have got by Lake Lanier. So you wouldn't catch my black ass anywhere near Lake Lanier. No way in hell. So the same thing with Stone Mountain. Uh-uh.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just
No,
straight up
being that I'm
evil.
not necessarily from Georgia, like I don't know how it looks. I didn't know if like maybe you've ever driven past it, or
Oh,
but I
it's
was just kind of
literally
wondering if you've
just
ever gotten a glimpse.
it's pictures online. It's just a giant think of a really really big rock, and they carved uh Klansmen, Confederate soldiers into the side. It's literally a mountain. It's a giant. It does look like a giant oversized rock. It's just a bare face
Okay.
rock. And they carved Confederate soldiers into it. If I'm remembering correctly, I think Nathan Bedford Forrest is carved into the side of it, and he was the founder of the KKK.
Okay. I was thinking like I thought it was like Jefferson Davis and
I think there's several
Robert E.
figures up
Lee.
there, but I think
Were they?
Nathan Bedford Forrest is up there too
Ah, interesting.
because they gotta get their jabs in. Like, haha,
Right.
gotta
It's so
remind you who
sad
your
that it
daddy is.
still stands. Right. It's so sad that it's still here today in 2025 and remains a symbol of white supremacy, just sitting there despite the ongoing controversy. Like, this is what we have to put up with as black people. This
But
is
that's the thing.
it's a
Remember,
reminder.
what was it, 2020, when Black Lives Matter and all that was just, like going strong. You remember how hard it was to get, I mean, they had some wild statues up, right? If I remember correctly, I think there was a statue of Nathan Bedford Forrest that got taken down. But it was hard to get even the founder of the Klan taken down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Stone Mountain is one of those things that 100% needs to be done away with. And there have been petitions for the longest time to get it, carved over or, just wiped away. But
Yeah.
they always come back with this same answer of it's heritage, not hate. What do you mean? Your heritage, like the Confederacy, right? We're talking about the
Right.
Confederacy. Their sole purpose, or it was states' rights. Go fuck yourself. It was states' rights to do what? Hmm?
Uh-huh. Yeah,
States'
let's get
rights
down to the
to do what? It was literally in all of their, like letters of secession and whatnot, it clearly stated nobody's going to infringe on our ability to have slaves. Those Negroes are
right.
ours. Every single one of them. So it drives me up a wall, a stone mountain, if you
Yeah.
will, that people will literally. It's the same thing we see with what's going on, today with the of Mr. TK. The way that people will rewrite the story when you very clearly have the evidence in front of you. They'll look you
Yeah.
dead in the face and they'll tell you, "No, you're wrong. What you're seeing with your own eyes, it's incorrect."
I cannot with the gaslighting, the amount of gaslighting. But it's happened throughout history with everything that Black people have described in our experience. It's the most annoying thing to receive that sort of feedback. Oh, what you're seeing isn't real. You're imagining things. There is no racism. What are you talking about? I
Mm.
got treated that same exact way last week. Like, it's just,
And it also, I mean,
I
that's
cannot.
that goes right into, like that conversation of white privilege and how they believe that white privilege can exist if they experience hardship. It literally just means that you, as a white person, on the same playing field as a Black person, right? Your socioeconomic status, a Black person in your shoes is going to fare worse because of the color of their skin. White privilege does not mean you're going to be wealthy, because classism, which white supremacy and classism go hand in hand. Classism literally has crippled you. And don't get me started on, I'm going to go into a whole communism rant, but we literally cannot, like, these white people who think that, I'm going to be wealthy because of white privilege. No, the system that you're championing, the systems of white supremacy, hold you back as well. The 1% hold all the money and power and wealth so that way they can hoard it. And it goes right into the name of the name of our podcast. Dragons love hoarding wealth. And what do they do with it? They just sit on top of it. They don't do shit with it. They hoard all of the wealth and the resources and they do absolutely nothing with it. So you can't sit here and say that, you want better for yourself as a white person. You want to be racist and say you want better for yourself. And I can't, I don't benefit from white privilege because I'm suffering, I'm poor. If you are championing systems of white supremacy, if you aren't fighting to dismantle these systems, you are literally crippling yourself and playing right into the hands of capitalists. Because, those in power love racism. We're seeing it today. They're pitting black and brown people, or well, yeah, they do that too. They pit black and brown people against one another. They pit white people against anybody that's non-white. It's all on purpose. None of it is a mistake. It's all started because the Spanish and the Portuguese realized that they were outnumbered when they came up with this concept of racism. They understood that they lacked the numbers to maintain power. So they had to create a system where they could maintain that power. And part of the way you maintain power is by pitting everyone against one another so they're not looking at you as a fruit fly.
Right. Oh, I was like, why are you?
ADHD king.
But the we wow. See, this is what I love about these conversations, how we like zigzag and sometimes we
Mhm.
get off track. But this, the whole conversation was about Uncle Tom and how that's, you know, gotten to modern day, right? So the whole archetype of Uncle Tom as it pertains to a modern era, we, I mean, we could rattle off a list of Black people who somewhat fit this archetype, right? So you have the Black people, like I said earlier, those two different archetypes. You have the Black person who is loving and appreciative of white people no matter what they do, right? They may not necessarily be angry at the world or angry with Black people, but they are, you know, I sure do love white folks. They're the best thing that's ever happened since sliced bread, you know? You don't often see that today, considering how everything works off of, you know, you getting clicks. Everything's all about getting views and clicks. What you typically see is the second archetype, self-hating Negro, people who have, in some instances, grown up in predominantly white spaces and they've been taught that Black people are a certain way, or they grew up around Black people and then moved into predominantly white spaces and trying to fit in. They have built this resentment up, you know?
Yep.
And
Yeah.
I feel like those Black people who moved into, you know, predominantly white spaces after growing up around Black people, I feel like that is one of, to me, that hurts a lot more, to know that you did grow up around Black women, that you did grow up around Black men, and then because you wanted to move into, it's a proximity to whiteness. And for those who don't know what that means, uh Black and brown people, people of color, non-white people, a lot of times you will see when they get into close proximity of white people or whiteness, white culture, they can sometimes switch up, change their behavior so that way they can fit in. They will, for some people, it can be a way of protecting themselves because they don't want to be put in danger, right? And then for others, it's literally a way to try and get in closer proximity to power, the power of white supremacy. So some examples, Kanye West, for example, he was the very beginning of his career, he was incredibly vocal, pro-Black, you know what I mean? And very outspoken for the Black community. And as we've seen him get off his meds after the loss of his mother, and you know,
Yeah.
just we've seen him turn into this, I wouldn't even call it a caricature. He's just, he has
No. There's a self-hating.
self-hating.
There's self-hatred, resentment towards his community.
Yeah,
Um,
he's
we
gone
s-
full, like
some
quite
people would
literally
see
has
him as a
gone
sellout.
full Nazi. Literally
Yeah,
making
and Sambo.
clothing. Yeah, yeah, sidling up to Donald Trump, saying things like slavery was a choice, and these things are not. I know there's a lot of people that will watch these things and, you know, oh, he's just rage baiting. Oh, it's just, you know, it's just a joke. And I think that's one of the big problems about what's happening today. People will down because they're afraid of the truth of how dangerous these things, the implications of these things are. They will downplay it as a joke. Kanye West wearing swastikas, making songs about Heil Hitler. These things, little edgy middle school boys eat that stuff up, but it's not a joke. Because not only are you teaching a younger generation that these things are mainstream and cool, but you are literally telling the people who are hurt and or oppressed by these things that they don't matter. And these people, they're not stupid. People like Kanye West are not stupid. They know the power of their words. They wouldn't be in those positions as artists or as influencers if they didn't understand the power of their words. So it drives me up a wall when people like him play dumb when they get called out for their mess. Like Candace
Yeah.
Owens does that. Uh, Van Jones, I think that's his name. I think it's Jones. His last name is Jones.
Yeah,
The
Van
guy
Jones.
from
Yeah.
yeah, he's one of the ones that has been. I want do you remember the character from Glory with the glasses?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
He was
I forgot the
all
name.
college educated, very prim and proper. Mm-hmm. That's Van Jones. He thought that he was better than the other black people. He thought he knew everything, and then when he got his feet in the mud, he started getting, you know, clowned on. They set him straight, right? Van Jones over the past, I mean, he's been problematic for a minute, but for the past several weeks, we've really seen Van Jones go full neocon. He's one of those black people who is, I think he would fall more under the archetype of the Uncle Tom, the first archetype, where they're, you know, white people can do no wrong, and I don't necessarily have any anger towards black people, but they can't, you know,
Right.
you can do, you know, if you don't listen, you're gonna get yourself hurt. Van Jones has been capitulating to fascists, even though he's on CNN and considers himself a liberal. He has been capitulating to fascists by what was a couple days ago. He literally was making jokes about dead Gazan babies.
That's right.
Hmm.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then apologize, right? Or am I mistaken?
Nope.
I think he
He has
didn't.
not. I
Okay,
don't
because
think
I thought I
I
saw
haven't
something
seen it.
today.
If he apologized, I haven't
Okay.
seen it yet. But he was making jokes
Well, we ain't right.
on what is
That's
it, Bill
disgusting.
Maher or whatever his name is, the really problematic racist white guy. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. No, he's definitely that archetype because he tries to come off as the good one, the good Negro, the prim and proper. I'm educated and I know what I'm talking about, uh, and you know I'm there to make white people feel good. That's Van Jones, right? And on the
exactly.
opposite, well, I wouldn't say opposite end. They're both problematic, but the opposite end of that spectrum is people like Candace Owens. Candace Owens and what's the name of that senator or whatever from Florida? Byron Donald.
Oh
You
my
remember
God. Yeah.
Byron Donald? Byron Donald or oh
The
wait.
name pisses me off.
No, yeah, no, his name pisses me all the way off. And the fact that he's always like there's something about Sambos, right? Especially black men who tap dance for white supremacy. They always got a look to them. It's
I was just about yes,
something
it's
about
the eyes.
it's the eyes and then the haircut. And then Byron Donald is weird though, because usually those Sambos don't do their hair. It's usually unkempt or uncut. You know what I mean? But Byron Donald's one of those
Right.
ones that always has himself trimmed up, but it looks weird. Like
Yeah. It's
almost
just
like
not
he's doing too much.
it's not giving.
Hmm.
Right. It's just not giving. Especially since we know what you represent. Just
Hmm.
stop. Just
Hmm.
grow it out. We know you want it's fine. That's okay. I accept that. What you're doing though, they do have a
Yeah.
look. I'm so
Yeah.
glad that you mentioned that.
Yeah. They always have a look. Candace Owens 100% has a look.
Yo, yeah.
It's the fact that, like, there's nothing wrong with straightening your hair, but Candace Owens has
No,
created this image that I am, like, I'm black, but I'm one of the good ones, and I always got to present myself like I'm a white woman. Like I'm black, but I'm a white woman at heart. That's how she presents herself. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah. She's trying hard to be accepted. It's, just being accepted by that particular community. Now she's switching up, at least trying to, but
that's the thing though. She's not even switching up. What she's doing now, Candace Owens has always been a grifter. Like that's her whole brand, right? So I've been hearing people saying that she's switching up. She's not switching up. She's just pivoting a little bit, just like Tucker Carlson. She and Tucker Carlson are pivoting just a tiny bit. They're still racist as all hell. They're just targeting their racism they're not anti-Zionist. They're anti-Jewish. Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens are anti-Semitic. And this conversation is so nuanced and in depth because do they say things that someone like me could agree on? Yeah. But a broken clock is right twice a day. Am I going to use that broken clock? So Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson seemingly, having a light switch flip on and all of a sudden speaking out against Israel and whatnot. That's not them turning any sort of corner. That's just them pivoting their hatred to another group of people. And it drives me nuts because you have Zionists screaming that everything is anti Semitic, but then you have people like Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson who actually are playing right into that anti Semitism and trying to make it sound like they're aligning themselves with the people fighting for the Palestinian people. It's infuriating. I think we talked about it the other day, actually. It's like, you remember when The Last Jedi came out and how like you and me, we understand that we took issue with how Rian Johnson writes characters of color. It was very frustrating how if it was like characters of color got sidelined and their entire story arcs just obliterated and whatnot, Then you had people who hated the movie or disliked the movie because a woman's the main character, there's people of color in the movie, and people were conflating these two issues, right? They were saying, "Oh, so because you the black person, you don't like this new Star Wars movie because you're aligned with these racist bigots who don't like it because Daisy Ridley's the main character." No, it's the same exact thing. Same exact thing.
yeah.
I don't want to be associated with Tucker Carlson or Candace Owens. No, they are in their own lane. They're literally Nazis. They're doing this because they hate Jewish people. They don't do it because they hate Zionism and Israel. They do it because they hate Jewish people. So, ah, Candace Owens is a whole trip. Her entire life has been nothing but a grift.
Literally.
God. And like
Yeah.
she used Charlie Kirk's death to try and garner some, you know, views and whatnot too. Like, remember how she was saying that she and Charlie were best of friends and whatnot. Even if you were, the fact that you weren't invited to anything, that should tell you you were not. Number one, it's a racism thing. It's a race thing. Like you're black.
Right.
What did you think was gonna happen? You're black. You's a nigga.
Mm-mm-mm.
But number two, I think that, as close of friends as they may have been, Candace was playing in this very dangerous, like, sort of area because you're number one, they're conservatives, right? Conservatives are all about possession. Everything's about mine, mine, mine. Okay. Charlie Kirk was married. After he dies, Candace Owens starts posting photos and videos of them together. So what if they may have just been friends? Everything about conservatism is about that is mine, don't touch it. Candace Owens is over there posting photos of her and Charlie Kirk, and it really does look like, okay, they may have had something else going on. But then she acts surprised when she doesn't get invited to his funeral. I mean, obviously, this is a nuanced conversation. There's a load of things, but
Right.
Candace,
I mean,
you're black and you're acting like you and Charlie had a thing going on. What did you think was going to happen?
I, delusion. Just
Hmm.
wake up. But you know what? I forgot who told me, but Black people like that always get their wake up call.
Hmm.
They always will get their wake up call. Now, whether if they answer to it or not is up to them. But that was a wake up call for her.
Hmm.
She might not learn the lesson, but it was there.
Oh, guaranteed she won't. Because I was thinking the same thing, that may have been the moment for her, to wake up. But I looked at it from the perspective of this is the same woman who doubled, tripled, and quadrupled down on calling a rich white man's wife out of her name.
Hmm.
A rich white woman who could very well buy your shoes out from under you. And she doubled, tripled, and quadrupled down because I got the evidence. I got the. I don't think Candace Owens is one of those people who has never been punched in the face. She's
Hmm.
never actually been confronted about the vile shit that she does. So, in the face of being sued for millions, she's grifting, trying to raise money for that. And yet she still didn't get that what she was doing was fucked. So, of course, she's not going to understand why she wasn't invited to Charlie Kirk's funeral.
Right.
She's well beyond the sunken place. Whatever's in the pit
You
down
got to
there.
leave her where she's at.
Hmm.
Yeah. Leave her where she's at. Just
Yeah.
like Harriet, you can't take Harriet Tubman literally said you can't take them all with you. She's
Hmm.
one of them. Leave her
Yeah.
where she's at. There's nothing
Yeah.
we can do.
I
Too
saw a
far gone.
video. I saw a video of a black woman who had made a video about Candace Owens, and in the video she was saying, no, in the end she's still black, and we still need to have her back. What? Candace Owens would be the first
I'll
one to throw you
defend
under the
her
bus.
against racism.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'll defend her against racism, but that's about it. What
Hmm.
else do you want me to do? I have nothing for you.
I
The
think
way
that's
I
a
approach it is like,
good. Oh no, I was just saying that's a good way to go into kind of historical precedent of people who have been race traders.
yeah. But what I was gonna say is just like you were saying, I do not want it. I made this analogy on a video a couple days ago. Do I want somebody like Candace Owens to experience racism? Do I want another black person to experience racism? No. But there is a rake on the ground. We will call that rake natural consequences. I see the rake. You see the rake. You go and step on the rake. And then you look at me as if I made you step on the rake, or as if somebody else just made this rake magically appear. I don't want you to
Hmm.
experience that racism, but you have ingratiated yourself in a whole ass system of white supremacy. You literally hang out with Nazis. And then when you experience that racism, you looking at other black people to save you. What did you think was going to happen? Leopards,
Right.
face eating leopards eat faces. You have a face.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And don't call the NAACP, okay?
Mm-mm. Like she didn't,
Because
what was
she,
that? Mm-hmm.
yeah, she literally, like, I thought that was against what you stood for. Like, it just makes no sense. It makes no sense
Isn't that how
whatsoever.
she built her platform and made her money to begin with?
Yes. Yes. Right. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah, she
Oh, they
basically
always
started
do it.
out with she experienced a hate crime while she was in high school,
Mm-hmm.
and then yeah, essentially pursued justice on that, and then turned out to be the person she is now.
So it really does fall in line with that same conversation we were talking about earlier. How people will start out, white people will start out, or white women will write books for black people and hide under a pseudonym, or white artists will start out in hip hop. Candace Owens started out advocating for herself as a black person, then full out moved into white supremacist red pill bullshit nonsense.
Right. Kanye West, another example. It's
Mhm.
just we're going around it. It just makes no sense. I don't know. Yes, proximity to whiteness, but at this point it's almost like, damn, is this like a mental thing? I don't know. I don't know. What is it? You start out on the right
I mean, I
foot.
think there's a part of it that's also feeling like it's self-preservation in a
I can
way.
see that.
I could understand
And
the self-preservation thing, but at the same time, these they they have garnered so much wealth and such a following, right? They're pretty much
mhm,
set. So it's not like they have to continue being anti-black to be comfortable. I really do think like there's this I was talking about it in one of my videos a couple days ago how I feel like money and wealth really does change a person. There are people that think that it exposes who that person already was, and I think in a way that's kind of true, but I think it's like once they get to a certain degree of wealth, the greed full on takes over. Like it's the reason you don't see people like Elon Musk or Bill Gates or any of the owner of Amazon. You don't see them stopping. They've already made billions, trillions of dollars. You know what I mean? You don't see them stopping
yeah.
and going, "Yep, that's enough. I'm good. Don't need any more."
There was a fascinating article that I read that actually talks about how when you accumulate power and money gets you power,
Hmm.
that it actually deteriorates the part of the brain that is responsible for impulse control.
Holy shit!
Absolutely.
You know what that is?
Yeah.
What is it?
That's that's dragon sickness.
Yes. That's literally what the analogy is.
That's
Full
dragon
circle,
sickness.
baby!
That is dragon
Shout out to
sickness.
Smaug.
That's literally what happened to Thor and Oakenshield. That's crazy. So, if you have
Yeah.
never
It'll
read
do it for
The Hobbit or you've never seen the films or whatever, I'm not a purist, okay? I'm not going to hate on you because you haven't read the books. But Thor and Oakenshield is the leader of the band of dwarves, okay? And his entire mission is to get his people back to their homeland of Erebor, which was taken over by the dragon Smaug. Smaug took all of the riches, all of the lands under the mountain and everything, and he has collected everything into a giant dragon horde, and he just sleeps on it. Okay. Once they defeat the dragon, actually, Thorin doesn't even defeat the dragon. That's Bard the Bowman. But once Thorin and his people get the treasure back, Thorin is absolutely blinded by greed to the point where his own kin don't even recognize him, to the point where he is literally putting his own kin's life on the line. And it takes Bilbo having to strike up a deal with Thorin's enemies. They're actually frenemies, but Bilbo has to strike up a deal with his frenemies to try and get him to stop. And it's this he had everything. He was good to go. The frenemies were asking for their share. They were asking, please just, give us what we're owed and we're good to go. And Thorin was absolutely blinded by his greed, said no, and was willing to go to war over maintaining his hoard. It's crazy shit. It
I
was
know, right?
crazy. Oh my God.
Literally, one can't live without the other. Fantasy and reality go hand in hand. And
Hmm.
I've always said that. I've always said that. And I've been around people like that doing what I do. Um, it's it opens your eyes.
Hmm.
And you have to ask yourself, do I want to become that person? And if I become that person, am I willing to lose those I love around me? You know, it's never enough when you start earning that type of money.
Yeah.
You become less grounded, less humble, and you're around a lot of people who say yes to you versus no.
Mm.
It's a sickness, honestly. It's a sickness. And that's why it's important to have the right type of people around you who can always ground you and remind you of who you are before you become the person that you said you never would be, you know?
Mm.
And so,
So
yeah,
I guess
I've
you could
seen it.
say that being, like really one of the main reasons that you see Black people doing these things and for proximity to whiteness, for proximity to power, it is a dragon sickness. It's like it may not necessarily be monetary power or monetary wealth that they're trying to gain. They're trying to gain, you know, the power that comes with just the crumbs off the table of white supremacy. Like I may be getting crumbs, but the people out there are starving. And
Right.
people
Small
like
It's that
successes and
it's that
access.
allegory of who was that character in Django Unchained?
who,
Oh,
Steven?
are you, is it Steven? Sam Jackson's character?
Yeah, Sam Jackson's character, because and how he was willing to put everyone under the bus just so he could be next to whoever Leonardo DiCaprio was playing.
Mr. Candy. Calvin
Yeah, I'm never
Candy.
watching that movie again, by the way.
It's
It makes
brutal.
me so mad.
It's brutal.
I
The only
cannot.
reason I can watch it is because of the vindication at the end. But it's traumatic. And it makes it worse knowing that this is a movie that was written by a white man who just wanted to get his wiggles out saying the N-word. Yeah. Did that
And
movie
yet they
win any
claim that not
Oscars?
everything is rooted in race. Um, not that I know of. Let me see, did it?
Wasn't it? I thought it was up for some, like some awards, but I don't remember if it won anything.
It
I
was
was about
nominated for 5 Academy Awards. Yeah.
got it. Okay, got
I
it.
don't know if it
Yeah.
won though. Okay, yeah, no, it didn't.
Okay. Yeah. See that it seems
Oh,
like every
it
time.
did. Best
Well,
original screenplay.
see, called it. Okay. So every time there's a movie with a predominantly Black cast or Black main characters, like the story centers around Black trauma, that's when it wins Oscars.
Hmm.
Because apparently the only way that Black people can win Oscars is through essentially trauma porn. God,
Yeah.
that shit is annoying. It's like the help.
That's
Like
a
the goddamn help.
whole other topic for another episode, if you will, is how white people digest trauma porn like
Hmm.
no one's business. It's the true crime genre. It's everything. It
I was
is
about to say,
disgusting.
yes, we're totally
Yeah,
doing, yeah, white women in true crime.
that's a great
Yeah.
idea.
Listen, I want to go on a
I have some
whole rant
thoughts.
about hybristophilia
Okay, we'll
and
do it.
the attraction that white women have to actual murderers. Bonker shit. The psychology behind it is insane.
Oh my God. Then that means we get to talk about, like, even though Luigi did a good thing by taking out a CEO, all of the white women that had lined up to, like, basically offer themselves as suitors to him because he,
A better example is Charles Manson.
yeah,
A better
Charles
example
Manson
Ooh.
is Charles
too.
Manson. Yeah.
Yeah.
The women that actually like went ahead and like married him or were in his cult. Yeah, no.
Okay, we're saving that for another time. Because, yeah, no,
Yeah, we're
we'll
gonna, yeah,
got to save it for another time. Because what we're going
write
to
that
try and
down.
do for these things is try and keep them to around, like 45 minutes to an hour. And We did it. We did it. That was actually an excellent conversation, and I'm super excited to do more of these. But thank you, Sydney. Thank you, Desiree. If you would like to say something before we go, or where people can find you and your stuff, um, feel free to do so.
Yeah, where can you find me? Because, I'm not on Instagram anymore. Taking a bit of a social media break, but you can always look up my information on IMDb, where you can find like my artistry and, just what I love to do in my career. And yeah, I'm pretty much of I like being mysterious, so look me up.
All right.
I also like to be mysterious because you will only ever hear my voice in these podcasts and randomly in Xavier's videos. You may never see my face. Do I even really exist? Or
Sydney's
maybe.
AI. Sydney's AI, and
Yeah,
I was
literally.
literally about to say that.
every single time we use Sydney, an entire lake is eaten by an AI data center.
I'm actually Xavier's inner voice, kind of like Cortana.
I love
Yeah,
that.
he has a Neuralink in his brain. Compliments of Elon Musk.
Oh God. No.
For legal purposes, this is an opinion podcast.
Yes.
Okay.
So we're
So
clear. These are all our opinions.
yeah,
Absolutely.
that's episode 1. I think that we'll figure out what our outro thing will be in due time, but that was a lot of fun, and I think we made, like, that was some excellent conversation, excellent progress. We'll get better at, you know, weeding things out, but I think that was awesome. So, as always, this is Ebony Warrior Studios with blinding speed, master quality, and untold savagery. Have a good night, nerds. Go do something productive. Like, do your laundry. Actually, drink some water and take your meds, you weirdos.